Hi, I'm Nicole from Baby to Sleep, and today I'm going to talk to you about teething and sleep, what it actually is, opposed to what we really think it is. The two are very, very different. So, if like me, you've got a little one that's never really slept great, this was my first, you might blame everything that is sleep related on teeth. I know I did. The first 8.5 months of her life, I could have sworn she was teething. She wasn't, I just didn't know any better. And that's totally normal because sleep is complex, it's not easy, and it's an easy go-to, and it's something that you will get told by health professionals is the reason why they're not sleeping, and all your friends and your family will blame it on teething as well. So you're not wrong for thinking it's teething, but chances are it's not. So what is teething? Teething is, simply put, a tooth coming through the gum. But the gum is just wearing down, making space for the tooth to come through. But what do we say? We say the tooth is cutting through the gum. We say it's breaking through. And these are terms that we go, oh, that's painful. That's got to be so painful. Let's Calpol, let's Nurofen, all these, ibuprofen, whatever. Let's get them all in because, oh, that must be absolutely awful. But simply put, it's just the gum is just wearing down and the tooth is coming through. And the way that that gum will wear down is from babies chomping on things. So biting hard things of wood. So chewing on the table maybe, biting on the cot, the xylophone stick or something like that. Anything, the hand, they're chomping on their fingers. They might have that one finger in there that they are literally chomping down on. These are things that are actually going to help that gum break down. Now, this can obviously then cause a little bit of inflammation. So in some occasions, not many, some occasions may cause a little bit of a temperature, okay? Not a high temperature, but very much a low grade temperature. The reason I'm saying this is it's important to know when you need to ask your GP for help. And if you are to regularly blame a temperature on teething, you could miss something, because teething itself may or may not affect sleep for a maximum of about 6 days and nights. So if something has been going on for more than 6 days and nights, there is a temperature of 38 or higher, then I would be saying you need to speak to your GP. Okay, this is not a teething thing. This is not a tooth coming through. It's something else, so it's worth getting it investigated. Okay, so what are the myths? What do we hear about why our little one is teething? They've got their hands in the mouth all the time. They're dribbling a lot. They are gassy. Multiple nappies. Nappies are loose. These are just a few of the things that we might hear. So let's bust some of these myths a little bit then. So around 3 months-ish, a bit before, some a bit after, babies find their saliva glands. So their hands go in their mouth, okay? And while they're doing that and they're chomping on their hands because they're just exploring totally normal baby things, they are dribbling. Nothing unusual about this, nothing teething related, just normal and developmentally normal, okay? Nothing unusual about it. So don't think that's related to teething. Now, on a side note to this, we might talk about lots of nappies here, and some people will talk about a vinegar smelling nappy. Now, on the back of what I'm just saying to you here about them putting their hands in their mouth all the time, think about when they start rolling as well. So 4 or 5 months, they might start rolling around and they're putting their fingers in the dog's mouth and they're grabbing anything that's on the floor. They're putting their hands in their mouth constantly after they're touching all these germs. Could that potentially be the cause of some dodgy nappies? It's much more likely to be the cause of some dodgy nappies than a tooth coming through. So again, if you start thinking about the realistic side of why these things are happening, it's much more likely down to normal baby stuff than it is actually to do with the tooth coming through. To be fair, you tend to find a lot of the first teeth, you don't even notice they're there, the first two especially. And again, every baby's different. Some won't notice hardly any teeth, some will scream blue murder on every single tooth. But again, if you think about it from another side of things, if you've got a baby that's not sleeping well anyway, their cortisol levels will be higher. And if their cortisol levels are higher, their pain threshold is lower. So they are going to feel it more. So again, but if you've got a baby that tends to be sleeping well, and then their pain threshold is probably that bit higher, so they're much more tolerant of it as well. So it's a bit of a catch-22. But if you can take teething away as the reason for poor sleep, then you can start working on what's actually going on around it instead. So again, another thing, people talk about them being a bit gassy. Well, when does the first tooth start to come through normally? Around 6 months-ish. When they start eating solids, we start weaning with them. So actually, is it a tooth that's coming through that's causing all these different symptoms? Or is it the fact they've just eaten something and their body's gone, oh, I'm not so sure about that. What's that you've just put in me? You know, whatever it might be. Or, oh, my tummy's hurting, I'm cramping a bit here because I'm not quite sure what that is. And their body's having to get used to doing something completely different. Again, totally and utterly normal. But again, not necessarily a teething thing. So what is teething? When do you kind of go, actually, that's probably a tooth that's coming through? What are the really quite clear signs? So it could be that their finger is in their mouth and they are chomping hard. You know, they are chewing hard on that finger. They are putting really hard things in their mouth that you just kind of going, stop eating the table. You know, all these types of things. They could be going absolutely mental for it. Their teeth, their cheeks could be bright red. You know, it's because actually, you know, it's sore, a little bit sore, and it's a bit of inflammation. So yes, they might be a bit red. They're probably two of the big things that are quite big clues. Now, the other thing to consider is, again, your baby might seem absolutely fine during the day and it only happens at night, which again, people might or might not put that down to teething, depending what it is, or their baby might be seen as a poor sleeper because it happens just at night or when they go to bed. And the reason for that, if you think about it, if you hurt your knee or something like that, it might bother you a bit during the day, but you just crack on as normal and you're busy and you're doing things and life goes on. And then you go to bed and you get into bed and you're bored, and actually you haven't got the distraction and the things going on around you, and suddenly you'd find yourself going, oh, my knee's a bit sore. Oh, that is a bit sore. Right, baby's perspective. They've been up. There's this toy, there's that toy, the television's on, we're going out here, we're going out, oh, what's that? Oh no, I'll go over here. And they're easily distracted. So the thought is taken away from what's going on in their mouth. So what we're actually doing is when they go to bed and it's dark and it's quiet and they're lying there ready to go to sleep, and then suddenly, actually, they've been lying there, the blood is actually going to their head, so their pressure is increasing, therefore the pain is possibly a little bit more, and they lie there and they go, oh, I don't like this, ow, that's sore. So yes, it is one of them things that it does affect sleep, but it's a short-term thing. And you tend to find the worst nights is when it's actually cutting through. So you wake up one morning after a really rough night and you'll go, oh, there's a tooth. You know, sometimes it can be a surprise. You just have a really bad night. You had absolutely no clue it was coming, and suddenly you have a bad night and there's a tooth. Some, it might take a few days, but I wouldn't be pushing it much past 6. If you're in a situation where something's going on for longer, then obviously if it's a medical thing, if you're not sure, if their tummy's not good, if they've got a temperature, especially if it's over 38, you know, then I would definitely be seeking medical advice. Again, with the ear thing, if a lot of people say about them touching the ear, that's more to do with the fact that they can't differentiate where the pain is. So it might not be that they've got an ear infection, but actually the tooth is, you know, it's bothering them. But at the same time, if they are going for their ear and they have a temperature, then again, I would be looking at seeing a GP as well. So what can you do to help teething? Okay, so I've talked about what it actually is, but what are the things that you can do? So breastfeeding. If you are breastfeeding, that's something that can help naturally, because that sucking that's something that actually helps that action, that calms it down a little bit, that calms that sensation down. So that's something you might find that they feed more frequently while that tooth's actually coming through, while they are teething. Cold, wash towels and things like that, face towels, clean, obviously, clean ones, maybe pop them into a freezer bag or something and pop them in the freezer. Always make sure if you're going to do things like this that you defrost them slightly first. But that's the last thing you want them to do is stick to the mouth. So you want to make sure they've got some looseness to them and they aren't going to stick. Things like that. Breast milk lollies, you can do things like that as well. Anything really which is sort of cold, that let them chomp down on it. Give them things that they can actually chomp down on that are safe as well, because they will literally just grab whatever they can get hold of. So put things in range that are easy for them to get. People talk about things like the amber necklaces and things. There's nothing proven with them, and you are kind of going down the route of the risk of strangulation and things like that as well. You could get a necklace that you can wear that they can chew on as well, if that's the case, but that's on you. And it's like, we're talking like bigger beads and things like that, like the breastfeeding necklaces that to distract them. Maybe, things like your sachets, like your Nelsons and your Teether sachets, Ashton Parsons. These are all things that can help from a homeopathic side of things. Holding your baby upright maybe as well if they are teething, if they are in quite a bit of pain, just to help bring that pressure down as well. If you think that they are really struggling, there's no harm in doing Calpol, but what you don't want to do is get in this rut where you're over medicating because you constantly think it's teething. Okay, so these are the bits that are really important, but you can step that up. You've obviously got things like your Bongellas as well. So there's lots of little things you can do, lots of nice teething toys. Pop them in the fridge, just make sure they're clean when they're doing that, when they are chomping down on them. I know there's a contradiction in there, isn't there? They'll pick up anything, they'll put anything in their mouth, but make sure that you're giving something clean. But we don't want to purposely give them something that's not. They'll touch enough things in their life that they shouldn't touch. My little girl today decided to put the shoe in her mouth that she'd just been walking around with outside. I was like, give me that shoe. So yeah, so we can't stop some things, but actually let's not purposely go and do something that's not great. So nice clean things like that. So anything nice and cold, anything that they can chew on. And again, just like I say, bit of a breastfeeding regularly, let them suck in on things, a nice melon, things like that. So if they're at weaning age, let them chew on some melon, cucumber, all these sorts of things as well. Okay, so if you're not sure, if there's temperatures, obviously seek medical advice. If it's been going on for more than 6 days, absolutely seek medical advice. If it's something that's continuous, the chances are it's not teething, so let's look at what it actually is. So let's sort the sleep out, and that might actually even help with that teething as well if we can bring those cortisol levels down. Feel free to join the Baby to Sleep Village in the Facebook group. Feel free to go to the website, have a look at the different support options that are available, but sign up to our newsletter so you can get other videos like this as well, and subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can have all the videos in one place. I hope you've enjoyed. See you later. Bye.